Okay, one of the most common skills that we're going to be asked to do on the STAR test is solving for y. What it means to solve for y is whenever we see an equation and they ask us to put it into slope-intercept form, that means taking an equation like this where we have x and y on the same side and putting it into the form where it has y equals mx plus b. Okay, the main thing on that is where y is by itself, and so that is called slope-intercept form. Okay, so to do that, we're going to just follow these 4 simple steps that I have right over here. Okay, so the first step says add the opposite of the x term to both sides of the equal sign. Okay, and I'm going to try to first circle the y term on these. So we see our y term right over here. I'm going to circle that, including that negative. So that's why it's very important, because we don't want to forget that it's a negative 20y. Okay, so as it said, add the opposite of the x term to both sides. So I look over here, this is a positive 12x. So I ask myself, what's the opposite of 12x? That's going to be negative 12x. Okay, so if I subtract it from the left side, I also have to do it from this right side as well. Now, this is a numbers column over here, so I'm going to put it right over here, making a separate column for the variable term. Okay, so now I'm just going to go from left to right, just like I would read a book. So right over here, I have 2 opposites. Okay, so with my 2 opposites, I know they cancel out. And so now I'm going to bring down my y term. So now that I remember that it's a negative 20y, I'm going to bring down a negative 20y. Okay, equals, now I'm just going to bring down my negative 40, and I'm going to bring down my negative 12x. Okay, so that's our first step right there. Our second step says divide both sides by the coefficient of y. So the coefficient of y is the value that's in front of that y. And that's why it's important that I did that negative when I circled it, because it's a negative 20y. So if I divide this side by negative 20, then I have to do the same thing to everything on this side. So the first term of negative 40, I'm going to divide that by negative 20 as well. Then that second term of negative 12x, I'm also going to divide that by negative 20. Okay, now I'm just going to go from left to right. These negative 20 and the negative 20 over there, those are both going to cancel out. I'm left with my y equals. And then we go to step number 3. It says simplify using the Desmos calculator. So I'm just going to put this into my calculator, and it's going to simplify it into its simplest term. So negative 40 divided by negative 20 is going to give me a positive 2. Okay, then I'm just going to do my next term. So if I put that in a different color just to make it pop out, I'm going to put that into my calculator as well, except I'm going to remember I cannot type the x in because it does not remember that. So I'm just going to put the negative 12 divided by negative 20. If we do that, we're going to get a positive 3 over 5 and x. And so that's our answer. Y equals 2 plus 3/5 x.